Join us today as we go for a tour of the James West Training Center and building at the Betty Ford Center here in Palm Springs. Join us, and we hope you tag along and gather a bunch of information about the facility, and not so much about the residents, but about the facility and what they do for people. Thanks for watching. Welcome home. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We are at the Betty Ford Clinic this afternoon. We are going in to see the wing that Meg's grandfather was part of setting up
for
here.
Alcohol.
Yes, for
advocating for it and helping with it and all that stuff.
Yes. So we're going to go in and have a look around, and we'll get some filming inside. Join us. Welcome home.
When the building and the ribbon cutting and everything. I was asking Greg to see if he could find any pictures in the archives, because I know I was there from what my parents have all told.
Okay.
I never see it. the pictures of, I've seen pictures, but I don't know if there's any need in them, but.
No, I've got actual programs from Dr. West's funeral at Sacred Heart in my office right now. I can show you. And I've got bookmarks they gave out, and you can see your dad's name on the back from doing one of the eulogies.
Oh, wow.
Service.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen I saw the building.
Here's the sign thing. So, can I write that down? Yeah, so there's Dr. West. These are,
Yes.
they actually gave to us at the actual service. This is my meeting to come get you downstairs.
Oh, yeah, we got here sooner because we took the carpooling.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I have my grandma's.
Oh yeah, and so and then
I don't think I got one of these, but I do remember though.
Yeah, me and Lori used to. Lori Scotia was our longest running staff. She just retired 2 weeks ago after 37 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And we used to joke around because Donna, who's on PTO today, who was my assistant for a decade, she's from New York also, and we used to sit in rooms with Jim West, Betty Ford, and Secret Service, and we took it for granted. Like, we literally just, it was work, you just got up and you threw your clothes on and you went and work and did your things and all that sort of thing. Grab a seat here, though. I'd love to chat up with you a little bit, and I'll take you on over and show you the building and the case and everything.
Yeah, my favorite part of that case is his medical bag.
Yeah.
It's literally his his actual. I wish I could inherit it, but I also, at the same time, want it here for people to see.
Yeah, and hundreds of years from now, when we're all gone, there'll still be people coming here, proudly reminiscing about their experiences.
So Darren was curious about how my grandfather got himself connected with the Betty Ford.
Yeah, so Jim West was a prominent Chicago surgeon back in 1950, did the first organ transplant. They did
That's why I have my last name still forever.
Meg's dad talked about that with us. So.
And it's interesting, Time Magazine did a feature on Dr. West, and that's when they started rolling out the actual pieces.
Do you have that issue?
I don't. I grabbed as much Jim West stuff as I could.
I was going to say, I don't even have that, and I would totally be framing that and not have anyone touch it.
Well, and a lot of us didn't know about that. We didn't know that he had done the first organ transplant. We hadn't seen the film yet. It's now in the case, but again, he was
Greg sent me a link for that, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to
check it out. I mean, and we had pictures too because we did the dedication, and we've got pictures of Dr. West there with the other surgeons and things like that.
That's cool.
We had a guy named Jeremiah Gardner who was he's like a chief historian, and so he would go and pick all this things up, and we put him in the archives. And but Jim, I used to actually take Jim in my SUV over to Westfield Mall, which has now been changed names, and there was a movie theater there called Cinemas Palme d'Or, and we would wheel him into Theater 4, and we would set him up in the corner, and he would have throngs of people, like 3 rows deep, asking him questions, trying to espouse wisdom and knowledge from Dr. Jim West, and he had mentored me, he had mentored Harry. So I've done medical education pretty much my entire career here, training med students, training residents, training fellows, carrying on the legacy of Jim, because he never got educated on addiction when he was in med school, so he wanted to change that. He took the idea to Betty. Betty loved the idea as well.
But he was 40 plus years sober, wasn't he, though? Like
when he passed?
Yeah.
59, I believe it was. Because he was 98 years old. We used to ask Jim West, we used to say, Jim, when are you going to retire? Why would I retire? I'll just move on over to the slower lane. He would always say that.
I remember. Yeah, like I remember that my dad would say, "Oh yeah." He would talk about his dad and be like, "Yeah, they're telling him you need to use a wheelchair." Nope, I'm gonna use my walker. Okay, whatever. The stubbornness, but he also had a lot of pride, and his passion was this. So.
Yeah, and so he wanted to train the med students, and we wanted to get them as young as possible. So we were always trying to get like first-year med students, basically fifth-year undergraduates, because we wanted to teach them about addiction because they were going to see it time and time and time again in their patient population.
Yeah.
And so I've been the head of a program called SIMS, Summer Institute for Medical Students. That's been around for 35 years. Again, I've been here for 15 plus. And I would always bring Jim West with me to the closing luncheon. So on Friday afternoons, the students would share about what the week here meant to them. And they get like super deeply emotional because a lot of times what people think is what they see on television and what they see in the movies, right? They think people with addiction are all homeless, lying in the gutter in Skid Row, Los Angeles with needles stuck in their arms. And
some of them are high functioning.
They look like us.
Yeah.
They do. They look like us. And they've got like good jobs and good families and homes and all this sort of
Pro
stuff.
athletes.
Yeah, and it's like one decision this way or that way ends up at Betty Ford sometimes. So the students have these eye-opening experiences, and so he would come to the closing luncheon and we do a Q&A at the end, and the students would raise their hands and they're so cute, and they would say, Dr. West, how do you feel about the way the SIMS program has turned out after all these years? And he would pause and he would grin and he would say, turned out exactly the way I thought it would. He was like zingers and one-liners. I mean, classic, like the consummate gentleman, always looked fantastic. I even have like actual DVDs he did, back.
Oh, we have
like
one of
these ones, and I've got this one that he did.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's my grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him a month before he passed away, and he. Oh, you might relate. See, a cane, not a wheelchair.
I know.
He refused. A
That's
month
so cool.
before he passed away, my dad had an iPad from where he worked. They gave out iPads for their employees, and my grandpa his brain function just kept going and going and going and going. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to learn about this. I want one of these." And we're being as polite as possible in our brain to not say anything. Well, okay. But we're not sure when the tunnel is your life's going to go, but I don't know. And then he wanted his battery fixed. It's like, I don't know if he'll need that either, but he just always was curious of the next step in life of different innovative things. So my dad and I always get a chuckle out of that, of him being so interested in just the new evolving of everything.
Yeah, and my understanding was, he came out here in the '80s to retire, but like so many of us, we don't want to retire, and so he came and checked out the Betty Ford Center. Betty Ford opened in '82, November of '82, and he was like our founding guy. I mean,
I wasn't sure if he was, but he was.
Because I was sure that's what your dad had said, that he was one of the founding members of.
You had John, you had Betty, and you had Leonard Firestone, and I'll show you the Firestone building out there as well. It's
Very cool.
across from your grandfather's. And then Jim West was brought in, and he was like the architect of medical services. And then my tie to him was always education of medical providers.
Yeah.
But he was always in front of people. I mean, he was always in front of people, carrying the message, talking freely and openly about not being ashamed of this disease. And I mean, he was sharp right up to the very end.
Because I think he retired at 93.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, he was still visible.
Oh yes,
visible.
Yeah. Oh, I know, but I remember so I think
It's a subjective word.
Yeah.
Retired.
Yeah, because I don't even know when these were made, but this was in 05 or
this was in 2006.
So they were probably churning those out.
I was 16.
Your dad's name. That's right there. I need the Cheryl on there too.
Nice.
Cheryl Markey.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen them in years. I
like that picture too.
Yeah.
A great picture.
Yeah.
You met with Greg last time you were here?
Yes. He was so cool. He thought it was so cool meeting. Like,
if I had more of these, I would give these to you.
Oh no, that's okay.
I'm like hanging on to like my.
No,
I'm pretty sure your dad's got some
I don't remember. I do know that we got for the funeral, we got this timeline thing framed from like when the Betty Ford started, and then when he came in, and then it kept going. I don't know if it's at my dad's house or not, but it was. But yeah.
Probably in the safe.
The frame is.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe not.
But yeah, I remember. I think he came out when he was in his 60s. Because my grandma's like, why don't we just stay here, or whatever it was she would say. But yeah, he was an awesome grandpa. We would visit him every Christmas and meet up with the family and everything. I'm not sure if this would help you or anything, but I'm seeing my 2 aunts and my uncle, who's the brother-in-law, married into the family, but the 2 twins, Penny and Pam, might have some insight on their dad, because they're also siblings. If you ever want them, they live in Long Beach, so aren't far.
I mean, they could always come out too. Like, so I've still got the medical student programs happening all the time. So,
okay.
And I have a card being sent to your dad from a student that wrote a personal handwritten thank you card because he gave a small contribution the last time he was here. So I actually have the student write, personal handwritten from the heart thank you card. Bridget from my staff has it, but she's on some well-deserved PTO today, and we like to kind of send it so people can get excited when they see it in the mail and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I was gonna say, we're seeing my dad in a couple of weeks. We could give it to him, but
I think it's more important that it
gets mail.
It's a Friday. People are like,
yes.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Let me show you a couple other things over here too, because I want to show you where the Tamkin Auditorium is, and this is where we did all of our trainings. There's a big conference, addiction conference in La Quinta Inn, so a lot of these people are like,
ooh, La Quinta.
You know what?
It's fine, but they can mail it.
It's gonna look like that, but you see those cards on that
okay,
wall
the
right
gold
there?
one?
Oh, yes, yep.
Right there, and it has like 15 students from different schools.
Yeah.
And then usually the students, sometimes they'll put like a little arrow or heart around them, and then inside they handwrite the card. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. That'll be fine. The Betty Ford, The Times of My Life. Wow. Those books look pretty cool.
The Lisa McCubbin one is more recent. It was a little before the pandemic, so maybe 5 years ago. Susan's around a lot too. Like Susan's here regularly. We just had dinner maybe like a month and a half ago or so, and she comes to all the board meetings, so she's here like quarterly or so. Yeah. And I trip over here. This is Travis. It's Megan, Dr. West's granddaughter. My mentor for many, many years.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Travis works with Tessa here. She's our region administrator. So this is, actually you can see the setup here because we've got a big group of med students coming on Monday. So there'll be like a bunch of students here going through the same program that your grandfather helped set up in '88. And so we'll have them here. We have a partnership with the Mayo Clinic, so most of them are from the Mayo
Nice tumblers.
Clinic. Pretty cool. They've changed over the years. We used to have these ones that cracked and shattered all the time, so these ones are a little more durable. And yeah, this is where like Jim would come to the closing luncheon, so he'd be sitting at one of these chairs, and I'd be over here somewhere too. We'd have John here sometimes, or Susan, or I had about 18 months of healthy Betty, and then she was ill for about 18 months, and then she passed away about a dozen years ago or so also. So her and Dr. West both passed away within about a year and a half of each other.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Betty passed, and then Jim passed about a year later. So now we have
smart boards and
you can just touch it.
Yeah.
I have an 8-year-old, so he comes in.
Oh yes, my kids all had these in public school and through high school.
I remember the old school ways.
Writing on the walls.
A chalkboard,
We painted this 2 extra times because people have gone by mistake and started writing on this one, which you can't write on, but this one you can write on.
Whoops.
That's cool. Password. Oh, good to know.
Those will be the students that will be coming on Monday. And they come for a week, so they're here. They fly in Sunday evening, and then they're here Monday morning.
From all over the
nation.
Nation, yes.
Yeah. Some international, too. We get the occasional people from Europe and Asia, too.
Do you get any Canadians?
A lot of Canadians, because we actually have a Hazelden Betty Ford Society of Canada. for a tax benefit for Canadian citizens.
Oh, nice.
Well, we're
The Canadian.
yeah, we're in London, Ontario, so we have a huge like teaching school, like the
McMaster's
university.
there, right?
Yeah, McMaster University of Western Ontario is in London, where we're from, and there's a huge.
And that's Shoreditch School of Medicine and
Yeah,
Dentistry.
yeah, and the Fowler Kennedy Clinic for orthopedics is there. They do a lot of work with NHL teams.
Yeah.
So-
we get a fair amount of students from McMaster and,
Yep.
and some from Western also. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we almost think of Canada as sort of like the same as the United States because we bring so many people.
it's all attached. It's
Yeah,
there's
pretty
a
much.
river and a few lakes that separate us.
Yeah. Now, the last time you were here, did Greg tour you? Did he like show you the buildings and stuff? Or
He showed us, my dad and I. He showed us, I think, well, my grandfather's building, and then he pointed out another building.
Okay, so like this is pretty cool. So we're on 27 acres. We've got 9 large-scale buildings. Currently 190 patients, and there's about 220 staff members here.
Wow.
And then we're doing an expansion. This 7 acres right here is getting built out right now. So if you come back in a few years, this will all be built up as well, and we'll have another extra 50 or so patients will be able to
Oh,
take
okay.
there.
Oh, wow.
And a day treatment pavilion and others. So if you were here 2 years ago, that would have been just shrubs and
Yeah, probably.
Deserty stuff.
yeah, a lot of nothing, yeah. And then down here we have our children's program. It's not for addicted kids, it's for kids from addicted families.
Yep.
Ages 7 through 12.
Well, because they need help to try and understand what's going on with their parents too, right?
Many
So,
of us come from families with addiction. My
Oh, yeah.
mother and father did not have substance use disorder, but my grandfather did. And
Yeah.
so when I was a kid, I'd watch him drink, and when he drank, he would change.
yeah, my dad was the same way.
Yeah, and so when we do as kids, we have stories. Like I always wondered what could I have done differently that would have, caused my grandfather to change. Putting so much on yourself as like a
Yep.
So I didn't know this existed until I came out here, a decade and a half ago. And what's kind of cool is we've built this character called Beamer the light bulb boy, which treats the kids in an age-appropriate way.
Yep.
So like his light bulb, it's yellow when he's happy, it turns red when he's angry, it's blue when he's sad. We've done 5 different coloring books like that with 3 series in each, so there's 15 total books. And when my son turned 7, I was able to take him through the Beamer books, and he could
Oh,
identify
nice.
feelings like when he was trying to
Aw,
communicate.
that's cool.
And then we got a call about 5 years ago from Sesame Street. It was right before the pandemic. And so we went out to New York City and we actually created our own Muppet called Carly. So if you Google tonight, like Betty Ford Sesame Street, you'll see our own character. You'll see Sesame Street in communities. You see the work we
That's
did with
cool.
the unhoused population, foster care, opiate addiction. And so Carly's mom has opiate use disorder. She goes to treatment and she gets well. We pushed that out. 163 countries picked that up. 8 billion with the V impressions.
That's,
Wow.
that's really good.
Media.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
so.
And look, you've even got Mickey Mouse.
I know.
Yeah.
We're huge Disney fans. The entrance that we came in,
So cool.
no, was around the corner where there's displays the pictures of my grandpa.
Yeah, I'll show you.
That one. I
We'll do a
remember.
circle. I'll check. So like this is the. Yes, this is the kid.
I actually have that same symbol.
Very cool. We're big Disney people too. Like me and my son.
I like the fish tank.
Oh, good.
Fish tank's cute, right?
Yeah.
If you, we'll have to give you our YouTube thing because we are Disney Vacation Club members, so we rent on our points. So if you in your
Have you stayed in the new tower yet at the Disneyland Hotel?
No, not yet.
No.
It's like
Oh,
brand
that's-
new. We've been like looking at it, but we haven't been yet either.
Yeah,
These are kids, children's castles.
so cool.
And one of something really cool, associated to Dr. West as well. I have had 3 medical students of mine that came here as children through the children's program at 7, 8, and 8 years respectively. And 15, 16, and 16 years later came back for our medical student program here. And when you go into the rooms over here, you'll see tiles on the wall.
Yep.
And we actually
Some-
found the tiles of the med students from here. It's
That's so cool.
on the wall. And so we would like point to them and they were like reflecting and reliving that as well.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like a pop culture history lesson.
Yeah.
There's AC/DC, there's The Simpsons, Eminem is over there.
Lots of yin and yang.
Yeah. And when we have kids here too, like we'll take these tables out, we'll drop the pillows over there, we'll get down like eye levels.
Yeah,
So we can
yeah.
help the kids
You're
get-
then their level and
Here's the
Yeah.
rest of the coloring.
Yeah, they don't feel like they're being looked down on and
Yeah.
talked down to.
there's
It's
the green one, there's all these other. I
Yeah.
think that's such a clever idea. Learning
right?
about addiction.
I did my first 3 years of university were psychology and kinesiology.
Nice.
So,
Very cool.
and then I decided I didn't need another 4 years. So.
You know, it's interesting. In undergrad, I hated psychology. It was my least favorite subject. I became a stockbroker in New York City. I worked for Morgan Stanley and went through 9/11 in the World Trade Center. And then following that, I was drinking too much, partying too hard. Fortunately, got into recovery young and went back to graduate school in psychology, which I hated. So my graduate work is actually there. My license is in that too. But now I do med students.
She hates it because she'll do things, and I'm like, you know, that's.
You saw like CPT and stuff like that. Like,
Yes, and I'll do it even without thinking about it, and it's just like, oh.
Hey, we'll go and hang out with friends, and he'll point out the little things. I'm like, can you just leave them as black and white?
Well, idiosyncrasies and.
Did you see the gym last time?
No.
So we believe in a biopsychosocial spiritual model here. So all of our patients do an hour and a half every single day, 45 minutes in the gym, 45 minutes in
Nice.
the pool. And this building named after Mr. Bill Daniels. Bill was a super cool guy. He actually started Cablevision Television.
Okay.
He took that money and bought the Los Angeles Lakers with Jerry Buss and Magic Johnson. And you can see there's like his Lakers business card and all of his property and stuff down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
He loves hockey.
Yeah, the Kings.
And he had challenges with alcohol himself, came here, got into recovery, and then upon his passing gave a significant gift to build this building here. So
Very cool.
if you ever need to find us, this is the only two-story building on campus. All the rest of our buildings are all one story over there. And then we're bordered by Eisenhower Health, which is our largest
Yes.
employer in the valley here. And so these are other cool things from Mr. Daniels. And then stairs, elevator, do you have a preference?
Doesn't matter to me.
Stairs. So down here is where we have our state-of-the-art gymnasium. And everybody has like a trainer, everybody has a dietitian, everybody has a nutritionist as well.
I could use one of those.
It's like healthy habits. We're trying to develop healthy habits. What happens is, they've been drinking and using, we're removing the drink and drug, and they have all this free time in the day. So how do we instill healthy lifestyle,
Yeah.
healthy habits into their living?
So like alternate, just as a,
Yeah, positive substitute, right?
Thank you.
Sure. And so, yeah, this is used to be like health information management and information management systems, like when we break our computer and everything basically.
ooh, fun.
You always feel so less than though. Like I break it, I have to call them, they have to come all the way across campus and they fix it in like 4 seconds,
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, go Zach. Zach, one of our trainers. Zach's been here a long time too. Dr. West's granddaughter, Megan. Yeah. How many years have you been here, Zach?
July will be 16 years.
16 years, awesome.
I'm one of the trainers for the wellness staff.
Yeah.
I'm Darren. Nice to meet you.
Good to
Patients
have
are
you.
always down
Thanks.
here, and staff can come down here too, and we stagger it throughout the course of the day here, and then they get taken care of, healthy living, healthy lifestyles.
Definitely at all levels of care to use it. So we have this facility, we also have a yoga room in the next building, and we have a pool as well outside.
Nice.
So we do water aerobics, we do yoga, we do circuit training classes, we do one-on-one training.
I would definitely use the pool throughout the summer living here.
Pardon? Could you say that again? How many pools do we have available to us to use and you avoid them?
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks so much.
My son, he loves that one with the monorail there.
Is that replaced, do you think?
There was construction the
Thank
last
you.
time. We kind of mix it up. We don't usually stay in the same hotel. Also because some of those hotels are extremely expensive. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So you've got the 3 here, the Grand California Disneyland Hotel.
And that's Pixar now.
Yeah, the new Pixar one, which I think just reopened 9 months ago, 6 months ago, something like that.
It looks, I've seen pictures of it. When I was at Disneyland last, it was in November, but it wasn't finished yet. And so,
Yeah.
and I don't even think the tower was
Oh,
ready.
somebody lost a scrunchie.
Yeah, it's probably impatience. They'll come back for it.
I don't even think the Disney tower was even ready for reservation. I don't know.
Oh, the tower. We saw it during construction. We just walked over there. And,
Nice.
it's neat because it's painted a little different color. So
Yeah.
it
Oh,
kind
neat.
of pops. And so this Croc spelled backwards. That's the McDonald's food chain, Jonah Ray Kroc, that's owner
Yep.
of this building. And they did a movie about it called The Founders with
Yes.
Michael Keaton. if you
Yes.
wanna check that out.
He was really good in that, actually.
And it's interesting, so, I'm an OG Betty Ford guy, my career's been here, but when we merged with the Hazelden Foundation, the 2 largest nonprofit substance use system in the world brought together, we had to go out to Minnesota to do meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
And they have a cork pavilion there too, an independent gift at another organization in Minnesota, 1,500 miles from here, so that's pretty cool. This is where we have our day treatment services, so you've got residential and then you've got day treatment.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like doing, looks like they're not doing a group right now. But that would be like the lecture hall for day treatment patients. And then this would be like a staff room. We have a staff like
And a
this.
therapy dog.
Yeah, therapy dog is like the most beloved individuals here. They're my biggest competition for funding. Therapy dogs and horses for equine therapy.
Oh, this one would like that.
This is the Elizabeth Taylor yoga room. Liz Taylor came here to Recovery, wrote a book about her experience.
Yes, that was one celebrity I did hear.
Yeah. Nice,
This is
right?
some Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
So the patients use this all the time too, and they do the qigong and the yoga, and they drop there's the mats over there.
Nice.
So yeah, just more get them up, get them moving,
Yeah.
get them healthy, sort of thing.
Keep their
Yep.
mind active and
Keep their mind active.
Yeah, and on other things.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
idle hands and all.
So like the MSU medical stabilization unit is like detox. That's when they
Yeah.
first arrive. They're typically there 1 to 7 days, depending on how many substances they come in on or how compromised they are. And then they'll transfer over to residential, which are the 4 large buildings over there. And then once they go through that level of care and go into day treatment, they come to this building, and this is where the day treatment is.
Nice.
So most of these patients have been here between like 20 and 75, 80 days or so. A little bit further along.
I
And
know there's
it's all group style like that.
so I know you can stay, like you can do a week, you can do 30 days, and then there's 90 days.
Yeah, and now it's
From what I've
now
read
it's an
last
insurance-driven model. So when I started here, it was private pay, which meant like it was really it was pricey and
Yes.
limited access for some people.
Yeah.
Now we're 93% insurance, 7% scholarship. So
And my brother went
more
here
people
for a little
have it.
bit.
Pretty good, pretty amazing though, right? Like that you could come here now and.
Yeah.
I'm in recovery personally. I wish I could have came to the Betty Ford Center. I would have like loved it. There are times when I wish I could come for like a refresh, come here, get a little therapy, eat some good food, nice trainer. And so these are just more opposite. Okay, so this is the Dr. West building right here.
Okay.
And so if you look from this side, here's the big name on the side here.
And I did tell, I do want to get a picture in front of there. It's
Of course.
after we're done. So yes, since we are busy vacation covers, we rent out points. So like if you and your kid and your family want to go ever to Wapsie World and stay at a deluxe resort, so it goes value, moderate, and deluxe.
This is the wing
Neat experience. And we
for Meg's dad.
there because there's a lot to do.
Her grandpa, sorry,
But
not
Disney
dad.
World.
Yeah, when I was a kid growing up in New York City, like every 4th or 5th year was like a big deal. Like we went on the plane and went down there. I've taken my son there twice now, and we absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's not like Disneyland where there's just the 2 parks.
Yeah, you can go in for a weekend
I
and
was 2 still there.
Yeah.
So I
And that's when this building was dedicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, this building's
Because my
been,
birthday is actually on Tuesday, so that's why I'm like I'm only 2.
Yeah, this building's been here 31 years now. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Aging all of us.
Definitely older than you.
yeah.
So here's the case here, and this just they're fixing this right now. There's the medical bag that you talked about right there.
Yes.
And you know what's
I
kind
have
of
one of these
interesting?
notepads too.
Yeah.
So David Smith signed your grandfather's fellow. He's right there. David Smith is still alive and well. He started the Haight-Ashbury clinics in San Francisco like 55 years ago or something like that. And David Smith, myself, and one other individual actually have co-presented together over the years. Karen Mioto.
There's even a plaque above you, Darren.
Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah,
And then there's the film over there. Where's the video? Oh, there it is down bottom. There's the kidney transplant right there from 1950 Chicago.
I have.
It's all good.
We have this book.
There's
the
the
Betty
doctor.
Ford Center book of answers.
Yeah. There's his attaché right there too.
So cool.
This is fun. That's his. That's the old symbol for the combination of the Betty Ford.
Have you seen the new plates for the Tennessee plates? Right in the middle. If you're not up close enough, it looks like this, but it's not.
That's cool.
There's a little Dennis sound bath in there.
Oh, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. This would be nice. We could do groups in here too, and research sessions.
Yeah, then our turn. pretty cool. I think my grandfather would be so impressed with the new technology in there.
So John Boop, did you ever meet John Boop before? He was, we had 3 presidents back then. We had John Schwartz, who was our founding president and CEO. He helped start the place in '82. We had Garrett O'Connor, who was one of my mentors as well. He was the head of psychiatry and then the head of Betty Ford Institute. And then we had John Boop, who was the head of the foundation, which was helpful for fundraising. And I remember John Boop came to me after your grandfather passed away and he said, Jim West would be so proud right now that we're still carrying the torch.
No, he really would be.
And a lot of us took that so
saying a lot.
seriously. Yeah, so we use this building all the time. I mean, all the lectures are in there, all the hospital and institution panels where people in recovery come back and share their stories with the patients. And yeah.
That's really cool.
Take you in there right now, but let's swing back.
That's okay.
You don't want to rush that.
No. Oop. Thank you.
It's 190 patients here, so it's always super active.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can't take it home, but it's there.
You
I don't
know,
think anyone's going to say anything to you.
off of that picture, we could probably make a
Card or something.
small one on our 3D printer.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most used buildings between the morning patient lecture, the morning residential patient lecture, afternoon day treatment lecture, and then evening hospital institution panels. That's used at least 3 times 365 days.
Wow. That's impressive.
You want to get a picture with me in front of the building?
Sure.
And then,
I mean, they love to do it. Like he's done
Yeah.
it for, I don't know, 40 years or something like
Yeah.
that.
are they still doing any donations for it?
They are, so these are for the Brook Pathways of Hope. Historically, these would be the most affordable donation. These would be like $250 versus putting your name on a building, which would be like $5 million.
Well, you know.
Can I just add my
On the top part or something. I
Just turn the
haven't seen a
W
new-
over to
aside from
M.
Meshek's name, who was our CEO after John, who just retired 3 years ago or so. His name went on the front of the admissions building because I think they were struggling finding $5 million to put it
Yeah.
on there. So
I was just gonna have you guys put my name on top.
all right.
I was
Big
gonna.
picture next to it, with
Yeah.
banner.
Just flip the W over and make it an M.
And so like, this is the center of campus. So like these would be like your 4 residential units: Fisher, Hopkinton, McCallum, and DuPont. 20 beds on there. So this would be like the Betty bubble, 24/7, 365. And Oshkosh Lake Hope is over here too. Lake Hope borders us and Eisenhower Health. Eisenhower has the acute care hospital, the Barbara Sinatra Children's Hospital, Lucy Kersey Cancer Center, and the Desert Orthopedic Center. I don't know if you saw the orthopedic building, but they just redid that, and it's like the most beautiful building in the history of buildings.
Well, the Canadian geese like the heat down here, Darren.
Ugh, they're crazy.
We call them Cobra chickens.
We've had so many different ways to try to get them to leave. Like we had a geese
They don't. They don't go. They show up and they
I
stay.
just power wash twice a day. Just we've thrown up our hands and
Yeah.
said mercy.
Oh yes, it's.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll be in town just driving along, and then we'll see people stop and we're like, are they
Oh yeah, they'll.
oh, walking across. They
Taking their time, yeah. And that's the Lake Hope right there. So like they have a nice little walking path around there too. So
Yeah, they.
and there's benches down there so the patients can go and like kick back.
Yeah, see, that's a. They do that with people. They will chase people. Like we'll go to Springbank Park, and they will chase the people through the park, like just like that.
It's wild, right?
My oldest daughter got bitten
I
in
can
the
show you
hand.
the inside of one of these. You'll just
Yeah,
have to put it down
absolutely.
for these. I met his grandson who came for a rededication of that building maybe 10 years ago or so, and his name was Brooks Firestone. And I'll never forget, he had like a prepared statement, you know, and as he was walking up, he dropped it in the trash can and he went and he winged it. It was like that much more authentic.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
yes, I do.
When we got married,
When we got married, both times he.
just whatever right off the top of my head
Yeah.
for
How do you
vows.
do? Was it good?
The first one, I can't remember what he said, but it was good.
We'll go to this one.
And then we did a vow renewal last year because my family wasn't there for the first one.
Gotcha.
Partly stubbornness was the main factor for that one of the mother.
This is the deceased. And then I think these are really large donations here. Wonder if
So cool.
my number one donor for medical education is the great grandson of the painter Pablo Picasso.
Oh, wow.
I actually live in a gated community called the Renaissance at the Gallery, 2 miles from here, and I live on Picasso Lane. So it's kind of
Wow.
fun as well here.
That's
Tampkin was the room I showed you upstairs where we do the medical education, where Jim said, it turned out exactly the way I thought it would.
That's pretty cool of Picasso.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
They give their money to the arts and they give their money to education on addiction for medical providers. So he's been my number one, him and maybe a few other smaller foundations have been like my number one contributors for
Wow.
my decade and
That's
a half
so
here.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think there was any more
Yep.
family
Peter.
with Picassos.
Yeah, SCAFE was actually the first funder. So in '88, when we started medical education, the first funder of the med student programs was the SCAFE Family Foundation, and they're still our funder today.
Wow.
One of my largest ones. So for 35 years,
That's-
they've given substantial, kind
That says something because a lot of times you'll get donors.
They're fickle,
It's
right?
yeah, it's a one-time thing, and
Yeah.
if you don't ever want to say the wrong thing, you don't want to step the wrong path because it's no, sorry.
Yeah, and the world like evolves and changes so much, right? So people have like different things that pop up, or somebody in their family
yeah.
like dies from a different illness or
Yeah,
something.
all of a
so-
sudden it's yeah.
Change it up. This is Susan E. Riley Auditorium. This used to be our dining hall many years ago, 2 decades ago. But Susan E. Riley had a trustee named Doug Johnson, and Doug was a stockbroker like I was in UBS P. and Weber at Indian Wells right over here. He was a military gentleman, and so he passed away about 5 years ago as well in his late 80s, but they give substantially to this building and to medical education. And if you go in there, you can see there's Susan right there, and their money goes to pancreatic cancer research and to addiction education for medical providers. And then if you come over here, this is the original Serenity prayer that you hear the patients and people in our family
Yes,
say all the time. And Betty Ford was so cute, like she was always perfect, not a hair out of place.
I see pictures of that.
She looked amazing, and she would always have like Secret Service over here. So she'd come over here with me sometimes in my early parts of my career, and she would actually still get nervous, even though she was the former first lady and this prominent person. So she'd come over here and she would take her hand and she would put it across here, and she would practice her talk, and then she would walk over to the James West Auditorium.
Like her routine.
Yeah, she would get her peach because she would talk about like mixing alcohol and pills and what the feeling and effect was like. And again, that was from someone that was so candid, first about having breast cancer when no one was talking
Yeah.
about breast cancer, and then having substance use disorder when nobody was talking about that either.
Yeah.
So when she went on Larry King and she said, "Release it to the presses," everybody was like, "Whoa," I mean,
You don't do that. You're high profile. You hide that stuff
she went to
away.
recovery in '78, so
Yeah.
she was only 3.5 years in recovery when we opened the center here in '82, and she was nervous. She was like, what if I take a drink or I use a drug? And Gerald Ford said, Betty, your name will shine as a beacon of hope for the people that come to the center
Yeah.
here. And here
Because
we
even
are.
the most committed can still stumble.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. So this is, we use this sometimes for like day treatment, larger groups,
Yeah.
You can put like 50, 60 people in here comfortably. And this is used pretty regularly. And as we go over here, I'll show you the Serenity Room, non-denominational place where people can go pray, worship, meditate.
Nice.
That was opened in '85, and Betty was a dancer and a designer. So she picked out like the carpeting, the wallpaper, and the acoustics on the top. So that's right here. There's like also like a little water feature there, and if it wasn't so hot, patients would sit there, and there's like
Yeah.
a little cut out of the mountains over there.
very
That
nice.
would be.
But this room's used all the time here. And it's kind of interesting because if you ever see us doing interviews, like, I'm curious if you looked at an old interview with Jim West, if you would see that. But you would see like Betty, myself, and others. We're sat here, and usually you'll see koi fish and bunny rabbits behind us. We import the wildlife here
Yes.
for those interviews. So this is what I regularly look for.
Placement. It's-
But yeah, 1985, religious organization wanted to build a chapel here. Betty and John said, we're not here to direct people towards any particular religions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for the offer.
that's a sore subject.
It is. So they said, how about a non-denominational place? People can use it however they see fit.
Yeah.
So here we'll do like our spiritual care groups. We'll do our pain management work here as well. Or patients can just come whenever they need to relax, take it easy, decompress. So
That's nice.
yeah, and we have a Serenity Room like this at our other large residential sites too, because Hazelden Betty Ford now has 16 sites in 8
Oh, wow.
states across the United States. The biggies though, this is the original here, and the other big one is in Center City.
There was some large lizards out there.
Yeah.
Those you don't bring in, those are natural. Those
Chilling,
right
right?
around the corner.
Yeah.
One looks like it has a stub tail.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Oh yeah. Those are skinks.
Oh, that's what it
There's
is.
a what?
It looks like a blue-tongued skink is what that's called, I think. Paige was looking at one of those when she ended up getting her leopard
We
geckos.
do smudging here now too for our native population.
Oh, cool.
We actually have smudging kits here. And then if people want to see about smudging room in the surrender garden.
That's cool.
Yeah. This is the little patient lounge area here, and then this is the former admissions area. So before the current admissions area, which I'll show you next, was
Okay.
built, this used to be the
Okay,
admissions
that's the,
area.
yeah.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good yourself? Yeah, so here you've got the original oil painting of Betty Ford that you see in a lot of the movies
That's
and
so
films
cool.
and things like that. And then we have like offices for volunteers and things of that nature. And this is mental health here, so this is where the psychologists are, and mental health clinic and some other Firestone painting. And various other clinicians are over here too for assessments and for moves. And if you come out here, you'll see this is the original plaque from when we opened the doors in October of 1982.
Okay.
And you'll see Betty Ford and Gerald Ford. You'll see Bob Hope and Dolores Hope, because the Hope family donated all the land that the Betty Ford Center and Eisenhower Health is on. Then you'll see Johnson as the president, and then a lot of times you'll see George Bush and Barbara Bush. So that's the original plaque. And now, old admissions entrance, now here's the new admissions entrance, even though it's 15 years or so now. New at that time. And this is going to have the case that you were talking
Yes.
about. So usually, like, we have two entrances now. The second entrance is real new, like that's only been about a year or so.
Yeah.
And the first one is where the security gate is there. That was the one that historically everybody thinks of when they come here.
Yeah, Madame that came in from that door.
So yeah, you would normally come in. So here would be the
Yeah.
admissions entrance.
So we're talking about that case
Patients
over
would
here.
typically put their things
Oh, okay.
down. Yeah, here's the case. And we've won 2 Emmy Awards here, one for athletes in addiction and one for kids of alcoholics. So there's where the Emmys.
So my grandpa's in
There's
this
Jim
one
right
here.
there. Yeah.
This one with the blue blazer on. And then there's one up here. He's in the middle with the ribbon cutting.
And then he's right there with the gray suit on.
And then there's him down there with the gray suit.
And there's him in the front row right next to Betty. Right there. That's a nice one.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and then top middle right there.
Yeah, the actual ribbon cutting.
Yes. But you and your parents were
I
here
never
for?
got to meet Gerald Ford because Gerald Ford died in December of '05, about a year before I got here.
Oh.
But I do remember when Betty died, we put a bunch of billboards out here in this orchid color, and they all said BFF, Betty Ford Forever. And I remember that clearly for years. Yeah, so there's one of the 2 Emmys. That's the
Yeah,
one for
that's cool.
athletes in addiction, and the other one's for kids of alcoholics. And then there's the bronze bust of Betty Ford. We dedicated that 12 years ago on the 30th anniversary. Jay Breckville, the same sculptor that did the bronze bust of President Ford, it's in Washington, D.C. commissioned this one. And so when we had the 30th anniversary, we had over 200 people in here, and we dedicated this. Another testament to when we're all gone from, hundreds of years from now.
Yeah.
So still proudly be here welcoming people to
Yeah.
this new way of life and recovery. This is the front end here, so when patients arrive, they meet with clinicians over there to do their assessments for admissions. Then they would meet with the nurses, which I'm going to show you next, for the nursing assessments, then with the physician for their history and physicals, and then with the clinician for the psychosocial assessments. So 4 assessments, all within 24 hours to make sure that we're at the right place for the person, that they're
Yeah.
here for the right reasons, and that we can take their
Yeah.
insurance. And this weekend, little family lounge here. in case
Yeah,
the families
I
wanna
did
go
remember
over.
sitting there while we were waiting for Greg.
And so this is the MSU Medical Stabilization Unit. So this would be the highest level of care here. This is where it's like called Doctor's Row here. This would be
Yeah.
where the medical team is. And so you've got like Alex's staff physician, who was primary OBGYN, now does addiction medicine, 2 nurse practitioners, Joe, Brino, and Sasha, and then staff physician. Then we actually have a fellow here, Greg. I'll be really proud of this. I'm very proud of it. I helped start the first addiction medicine fellowship on the West Coast here at the Betty Ford Center. And back then there were only 9 fellowships, and now there's 103 ACGME accredited addiction medicine fellowships throughout the US and Canada. So we were the first. So we have 2 fellows here per year. They start July 1 and they end June 30th. So these 2 are wrapping up pretty soon. So one's
That's so
here,
cool.
one's at Eisenhower, and we rotate them back and forth between us and the hospital. And
That's
that way,
really
we're
neat.
Specialists in addiction medicine. And,
Yeah.
if we like them, hopefully we can hire them. If
Yeah.
not, they'll help people in our community.
Yeah. That's really neat.
And so that's Dr. Teresa Jackson. She's our new medical director. She was primary surgery, and now she does addiction medicine. And then other clinicians' offices over here, report room. So head of medical, head of nursing.
Okay. That'd be a stressful job, just in general, nursing.
It's a big staff too. Like she's got like, I think our largest staff at the Betty Ford Center is our nursing staff. I think we have 50 or 60 nurses.
One of my best friends, his wife is an OR nurse at home. Yeah. Yeah. So.
In your patient lounge area. This is the nursing station right there. It's busy. And now these are the detox rooms. So it's all doubles as well.
Yeah, yeah.